Hello, everyone. This is a recording of my talk at ICE-SMARTECH 2023. It is about maintaining academic integrity, how to outsmart misuses of technology. I'm Oscar Karnalim. I'm from Maratha Christian University, Indonesia. So this is my short profile. I have a PhD in information technology from University of Newcastle, Australia, and I'm currently the head of master program in computer science, Maratha Christian University. My research topics include educational computing, academic integrity, information retrieval, and artificial intelligence. I've published more than 100 of academic papers, some of which are indexed in reputable journals, and I'm also a program committee and reviewer of many journals and conferences. I have collaborated with academics from 16 countries, including Australia, USA, Canada, UK, and Netherlands. My Google Scholar shows 763 citations with 16 H index, and my Scopus shows 327 citations with 10 H index. Okay, before we go further, we will revisit about what is academic integrity. Basically, it encourages students to act honestly, trustworthy, respectfully, and responsibly in learning. In other words, students fully utilize all learning opportunities, apply their best efforts to completing assessment tasks, and engage productively with people at their institution. Academic integrity needs to be maintained to provide the best learning experience and environment. There are several breaches of academic integrity. 5 of them are quite common, like plagiarism, collusion, contract cheating, exam cheating, and research fraud. We will see how technology disrupts these breaches. And also, lastly, we will discuss specifically about misuse of AI assistant. Some of you might be aware of ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot. These are two examples of AI assistants that can be misused for breaching academic integrity. And also, we need to remember about burden of proof. So a student is considered to breach academic misconduct if there is sufficient evidence supporting it. No evidence means no accusation. We cannot accuse someone without having proof or evidence that they are doing academic misconduct. In other words, it is more difficult to detect academic integrity breaches conducted by smart but lazy students. Because smart but lazy students usually know how to remove evidence, how to minimize all of the evidences, how to deal with academic misconduct in general, basically. So basically, we need to inform the students about the matter. We need to inform about the expectation, how academic integrity is maintained in the classroom. It can be at the beginning of the course, and also it can be before issuing assessment. And also, it is important to penalize those who breach academic integrity. We cannot just inform them without penalizing students who breach academic integrity. Because otherwise, students will think that such behavior is actually acceptable. Okay, now we will discuss one by one about common breaches of academic integrity. And we will see how technology disrupts these breaches. Okay, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism means ideas, words, or even code is reused without proper acknowledgement and permission to the original authors. It has less effort due to technology. Why? Because nowadays, students' works are submitted as computer files, which means it is easy to copy and paste. Just use Control C and Control V and done. And the next one, digital files usually has fewer authorship information. Maybe in the past, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, we can easily check whether a student made the assessment by themselves or not, based on their handwriting. And if they want to copy and paste, they still need to do some effort in rewriting the work. But now, because it is digital, then they can easily change the font, the writing style, and it cannot be easily detected. And also, because it is a digital file, it is easy to modify author information. With a little of technology knowledge, we can change those kind of information, like last modified, last created, and who are the authors, etc. The second reason is like more information is accessible right now. Internet becomes more affordable and covers more areas, which means much new information is published every day, and this information can be easily copied and plagiarized. The third one, more tools and services can be used to disguise plagiarism. So students can try these tools just to minimize the evidence. Like, for example, paraphrasing and translation tools. I know that basically these tools are not intended to help people disguising plagiarism, but they can be misused for that purpose. So how to deal with this? First, the easiest one is we need to check the metadata of computer files, like last created, last modified, who are the authors. And then the next one, we need to check the writing style for anomalies. If they copy just some part of it and then plagiarize it to their own work, then we can see maybe the writing style is like different to the rest of the document. And if they copy the whole work, we can try to check and compare with all previous works of the same students. If the writing style is different, then yeah, we might have some evidence that it is actually plagiarized. And then the next one, we need to check uncommon patterns in formatting, supplementary information like comments in program code, and also figures. Yeah, it can be compared to other student works, and also it can be compared to previous works of the same students. Again, basically it is about anomalies. And the next one, use automated similarity detectors. I'm aware that some instructors do not use automated similarity detectors because they believe they can detect it manually. But nowadays, I think, yeah, we need to be efficient as possible, and having some kind of automated tools helping us, it can be like useful. Turnitin is one of the popular examples, and I know that some institutions might not be able to afford that. So then after this, I will show some kind of alternatives for automated similarity detectors. And then we can search some random sentences online. So yeah, we can just choose maybe one or two sentences from the work and then paste that into Google and then check whether it is actually sourced from the internet. The next one, we need to check and aware about common student disguises. Usually they will try to change header information. They will try to change the tenses, plural to singular, first person to third person, etc. Of course, it depends on the language, okay? What I show here are applicable for English, but might not be applicable for other languages, like maybe Indonesian, because Indonesian do not have like tenses. And yeah, we still have like plural to singular, but not in a way that in English. And the next one, we need to learn how to use paraphrasing and translation tools. By doing so, we might be somewhat aware that how the result will become if they use paraphrasing and translation tools. And we can also track student grades and behavior history. So, for example, if a student is considered as slow performer for the whole semester, then suddenly at the final test, they get the highest mark, then it is obvious, right? We need to check that. We need to observe. And the next one, We need to inform students to paraphrase and cite other people's work, including themselves. Yeah, this is actually like a good practice for the students because when they try to incorporate other people's work, it is better for them to basically um, rewrite the content so that it is not considered as plagiarism in any ways. And of course, we need also to cite that. Okay, these are the list of automated similarity detectors for text. Basically, I have a few more for programs, but yeah, it is published in my publications actually. You can see my publication in the references. So in here we have anti-cut and paste, code query, gplag, lechen, plagiarismchecker.com, SaveAssign, Sherlock, Sim, Turnitin, Unicheck, and wcopyfind. There are several notes in using automated text similarity detectors. The first one, that the most obvious one, is like height similarity does not necessarily entail plagiarism. But I know that some people just try to generalize it to make it easier. So they might just say, okay, if it exceeds some kind of threshold, then it cannot be used. It can be considered as plagiarism, and they don't want to accept the work. And that is acceptable because it is easier to do. But if you want to observe further, if you want to accuse someone in doing plagiarism, you need to be aware that high similarity does not necessarily entail plagiarism. Why? So I have another research that observe about coincidental similarities. So coincidental similarities can happen when it is legally copyable. So for example, you provide some kind of text to student to use, then it is obvious that they will use that. And also when the tasks have obvious response. For example, if you have like maybe one mathematical question that only have one obvious response, then students will have the same response regardless they do plagiarism or not. And the third one is like mandatory header information. So for example, in thesis, we might have like faculty name, university name, and then acknowledgement, and then statement of originality. The next one is mandatory formatting. Like, for example, we will have abstract, introduction, and the introduction should be blah, 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 and related work should be blah, 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 blah. That might result in coincidental similarities. And the last one is like references. References can be similar, especially if they use the same reference style. I have my own experience actually. So I submit to one journal and they said that, okay, my similarity is quite high. But actually, when I observe further, basically they forget to exclude references from measuring similarities. So that is the reason why the similarity is quite high, because I'm using IEEE reference style, and some people have already used that references. Okay, the next one is like collusion. Collusion is similar to plagiarism, except that the owners of the copied works are aware about the misconduct and let that happens. So sometimes collision also happen when two or more people work together on one individual assessment. Again, it has less effort due to technology, as student works are submitted as computer files, easy to send to other parties, and easy to collaborate. More tools and services can be used to connect, collaborate, and distribute work. Internet becomes more affordable and covers more areas, and there are more social and collaborative applications available. How to deal with collusion is similar with plagiarism, except that we focus more on interactions among students. So perhaps we want to check about a student circle. The third one is contract cheating. This might be common in some countries, but I'm aware that in other countries it is quite uncommon. For example, I think in Indonesia it is not quite common, except that for final project and thesis. So basically, it is about third parties that are paid to complete student assessments. Again, it has less effort to the technology as student works are submitted digitally, which means that the completed work can be sent from anywhere and to anywhere. More services are available for contract cheating, as internet allows people to offer many kinds of service, including completing student assessments. Even people from far away can be paid to complete a student's assessment. How to deal with contract cheating? So the first one, you can check the metadata of computer files, last created, last modified, author information, etc. And then we can check also for anomalies. So basically, it is quite similar also with plagiarism. We can check to all previous works of the same students, and it can be helped with author identification tools, such as Turnitin, Authorship, Investigate. And we can also track student grades and behavior history. And the last one, which is quite unique, basically, we can search for contract cheating services online to gather evidence. So some services allows people from the outside to check the history of conversation and requests in their website, and we can utilize that. The next one is like exam cheating. So it happens when some students have unfair advantage in the exam. The advantage can be vary from concealed notes during exams, leaked exam questions, or even impersonation. Like we make one another individual just to switch place with us to take the exam. So it is somewhat similar with contract cheating, basically. And again, it becomes effortless for online assessments due to technology, as there are more accessible resources and helps. How to deal with those? Yeah, basically, it is quite common. So we need to have strict monitoring during the exam. And for online, we can use online proctoring systems like Proctor.io and Proctor Exam. Or if it is conducted in the classroom with computers, we can use local monitoring tools like net support. We can also disable internet or USB access during the exam and block some websites if applicable. The last one, no, the second last one to be precise, because we have misuse of AI assistants, is about research fraud. So it is about reporting research results without verifiable evidence. It can be data fabrication, like generating artificial data to benefit the students, or it can be data falsification, updating the data so that it aligns with the students' desired findings. It can happen in research-related assessments, for example, like thesis or research method. It becomes less effort due to technology as many datasets are stored digitally, which means it is easy to create and manipulate. And there are more image editing tools for manipulating graphs or other visual aids. How to deal with research fraud? So it is complex by nature. As we know in academia also, research papers, it is quite difficult to determine whether there is data fabrication or data falsification. But what we can do is like we need to search for anomalies in the reports. Like if the findings are too good to be true, then we might want to observe further. Or if the images maybe look like copied somewhere, then it can be observed further also. The last one, which might be the most interesting one, right? Because this year, yeah, many academies are concerned with the use of ChatGPT. And in programming, we have another one called GitHub Copilot. Okay, AI chatbots like ChatGPT can be misused to unethically complete exams and assessments. Basically, it can be considered as plagiarism because AI chatbots rely on other people's data. So I have two studies about this topic, basically. So my team conducted controlled experiments to observe unfair benefits and characteristics of AI assistants. The first one has been accepted on International Conference on Interactive Collaborative Learning, ICL 2023, in Spain, while the second one is submitted to IEEE International Conference on Engineering, Technology, and Education, TAIL 2023 at New Zealand. Okay, I will report general findings here. So first one is like unfair benefits. Students with AI assistant can complete mid and final tests 2 times faster while getting comparable test marks. This is applied for both introductory and web programming courses. But on the bright side, using AI assistance is more complex than doing conventional plagiarism. So I do believe not everyone can use that. Not everyone can utilize the result of AI assistant well. So students typically need more time to understand the response and to incorporate the response to their own answer. The next one is characteristic of AI-assisted submissions. So it is important to note that basically AI chatbots cannot solve complex tasks at once. Usually students need to break down the task to smaller subtasks and then put that as query to the AI chatbots. And the generated answer might be less readable, especially for programming. Usually in programming, they will use advanced syntax, and it is not readable. And the next one, the generated answers might not be correct. I think I saw some news stating that ChatGPT often make made up references. So references that are not real, but they just generate that somehow. And for programming, it becomes more complicated because the generated response can contain errors. How to dealing with misuse of AI assistance? Again, it is quite similar with contract cheating. We need to check the writing style for anomalies to all previous works of the same students, and we can use also author identification tools. We can also track student grades and behavior history, and we can use AI assistance detectors. So I have another study with researchers from Canada and Ecuador. So basically, we compare the detectors and found that they are somewhat acceptable. Not really effective, but somewhat acceptable. So the results have been submitted to ACM International Conference on Computing Education Research in Finland. Because it is not really high accuracy, so manual investigation is still needed to check whether the result is actually true. So these are small subsets, perhaps, for AI assistance detectors. So we have GPT-2 output detector, GLTR, copyleaks, GPT-0 AI text classifier, originality, GPT-Kit, and check for AI. Some of them are paid, but some of them have like trial version, and I think few of them are free. Yeah, you can check the details if you want on my research paper. Okay, these are the references. So I have three papers that have not been published, but they are either submitted or accepted. If you are interested, you can contact me by email, and then I will send the papers once it is accepted to you. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.